Good morning, Michael Walsh and Roger Norgel here at Norwal Farm. Thank you for joining us today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, ring the notification bell, and hit the like button. That helps our channel more than you can know. It's a beautiful day here. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, so unseasonably warm weather. Also, if you would please share this video with a friend and leave us a comment. And once again, thanks for joining us at Norwal Farm. Preparation for a lamb crop actually starts probably 6 months before they're born. This group is the ones that had the fall lambs. They were born in October. They'll be getting weaned here in a couple of weeks, and then we will start them on a little bit of grain again. Got to dry them off first. And then we also give them a selenium injection 3 weeks prior to breeding. We found that that really has boosted our conception rate and lambing percentage. So that will happen when we wean the lambs. So it'll be the 30th of November. They'll get their selenium injection then. Then we plan breeding for the very first part of December or January, and that'll give us lambs in late May, early June. This is the January group. They were running out on pasture with the rest of the sheep. In early pregnancy, they don't need a whole lot of extra nutrition for about the first 3 to 4 months because the lambs are just very small. The lambs will do 2/3 of their growth the last 4 to 6 weeks of pregnancy. So these ewes are due, the first one's due January the 6th. We've had them ultrasounded and they're all pregnant. This one right here actually ultrasounded open, but I thought she looked like she might be pregnant. So we did a blood test on her and she is pregnant. I don't know how many she's scanned for, but the balance of them are scanned for 200%. There's a number of singles, a number of triplets, and the balance are twins. So that's a really good scan. So we brought these in here, I think last week, and put them on the baleage. That's a very good roughage for them. It's even better than the alfalfa hay we have. So that gives them more calories and protein. We've also started them on a pound of grain per head per day to give them the extra calories they need to grow the lambs. That will be increased to 1.5 pounds a day about the last 2 weeks of pregnancy. Last year we had them separated into singles and then multiples, and the scan results, 2 of the singles ended up with multiples, and there's a couple ewes that didn't maintain their condition. This ewe right here, she was a yearling, so it's the first time. She was scanned for single, but she had twins, and she was fed for single. Last year, the ones that were scanned for singles, we fed for singles. One of them actually had triplets that was scanned for single. Now, she was an older ewe, carrying a little more condition, so she did okay, but this ewe is really milking heavy. 2 really nice lambs. You can see her hip bones there, a little bit protruding, and you can see her backbone. So she's lost some condition, so we'll have to try to get her built back up again before breeding. And so we've just decided to feed them all for singles or doubles. I think there's only 3 in here that are scanned for singles, but that one right there is one of them. I think she's going to have twins. She's normally had twins every year. So anyway, that's our plan. And then they will get a Clostridium CD&T booster in about 2 weeks. We try to give that 3 weeks or so before lambing. That boosters the ewe's immune system, so that in their colostrum, because they're forming their colostrum now, the antibodies in the colostrum will be much higher. That immunity is passed through the first milk to the lambs, and then the lambs, that immunity will last them 2 to 3 months. So we start their active immunization about 2 to 3 months of age, and then booster it 3 weeks later. And then that kicks into their immune system and protects them for the balance of the year. So this is the preparation we're doing. About 2 weeks before they're due to lamb, we will move this group up to the barn to give them time to adjust to being in the barn. And then that way they're already in there, and when they lamb, then we've got the pens and everything we need. So that's it for this group for right now, and so far they're doing really well. They're eating well and have really good body condition. It's an update on the 2 bottle lambs we have from the triplets. They're actually 32 days old today. They're doing very well. The bigger lamb, he's taking 16 ounces of formula 3 times a day. They're both down to 3 times a day feeding. And the smaller lamb, he has just smaller body conformation. So I've only got him on 14 ounces. I don't want to overfeed them. And they are starting to eat their grain a little bit. I've been putting some over here. And they ate most of it. They leave kind of some crumbs and some of the grain, but they've ate about half of what I put in there. And then I just put a little bit of hay out for them to nibble on. But very pleased with how they're doing. We've gone through 25 pounds of milk replacer so far. That's with these two lambs, and then the lamb that's still on the ewe. He's getting about 10 ounces once or twice a day just to supplement him, and he's doing very well. So really pleased with how they're doing, and the twin sisters, or the two ewes that were on each set of triplets, they're doing really well too. I'm glad we pulled them off the mothers. Everybody just seems to be doing really well. One of the very first things you do when you're starting a sheep farm, we started ours about 3 years ago, is before you ever get lambs, you have to have breeding stock. So we actually started out with white Dorpers. They're a hair sheep, a shedding sheep, and they grow primarily on grass and forage. The lambs are ready at about 100 pounds right off the mother to go to market. And we had those for about a year and a half. We sold them all last year. We also got these Ile-de-France sheep, and I really like them as a mother breed. They're very muscular, they're very meaty, but they're actually excellent mothers as well, and they milk very well. And then we have a Suffolk Ram and a Dorset Cross Ram. He's, I think, 3/4 Dorset and 1/4 Texel. So we have 3 different breeds of rams, and that gives us the flexibility of crossing them up. And what we're finding is the ideal cross on the market lambs is the Ile-de-France ewe times the Suffolk Ram. But you always look out for replacement ewes, and that Suffolk ewe over there, I wasn't going to keep her, but she is a very good looking ewe. So we're going to incorporate her into the group 1, which is the ones that had their lambs in October. I like her nice wide chest and nice rump, and she's just thick all the way through. The one thing I would change is make her just a little bit longer, and that's the thing on all of our flock. They're just a little bit short-bodied. So keeping that in mind in the future, any rams we save, we'll definitely want to look for a longer-bodied ram. And also any ewe lambs we save from the Ile-de-France, we'll want to keep the longer-bodied ewe lambs. But anyway, that's one of the very first things you do when you're starting a sheep flock. Talking about breeding stock, we bought those 2 Suffolk ewes. We actually bought 4, but we've ended up selling 2 of them. But this is a nice long-bodied ewe from her shoulders to her hips. Compare her to this one standing beside her. She's more of a modern show sheep type, not to the extreme that a lot of them are. And this ewe over here, I like her better. She's not quite as long-bodied, but she's not so real tall. You can see she's about the same height as the Ile-de-France. And if you look at the body length from shoulders to rump, she's a bit longer. And that's the mother of the ewe lamb we're going to keep. I'm hopeful. They're all bred to the Dorset Ram this time. And if we get a nice crossbred ram lamb out of either one of the Suffolks, we'll hold them back for potential terminal sire for market lambs. But then the following breeding, we're going to breed them back to the Suffolk, because my goal is to get another Suffolk Ram. Ideally, I'd like one as nice as that ewe lamb. And we'll hold him back as a backup sire, because the other rams are 3 going on 4. They're not real old, but you never know what can happen. Conformation wise, if you look at the Jacob sheep over here, they're much smaller. This one's actually taller than the other one. I think the other ewe weighs about 90 pounds. These big Ile-de-France ewes will weigh 200, 225. Granted, they eat more feed, but she produces good lambs. You know, they got more growth to them. The other one, her lambs top out at about 95 to 100 pounds, and we actually kept one of those for our freezer. It's a very good lamb, just not a lot of it. So we kept it. She had twins, and her other twin we sold to our nephew for their freezer. So they had their place, but for our primary market plan. They don't really fit the model. This ewe, I believe, will be 5 this year, and the other one over here, and she's really tiny. You can barely see her over there. I believe she'll be 7. Their useful life is, 6 to 8 years, depending on feed style. Compare her to the Suffolk next to her. I mean, she's half the size. She barely comes up to that other Suffolk's elbow or chest. So, totally different style of sheep. And when you're selecting your breed, you have to decide what your end product's going to be. The Jacob sheep, they use their wool sometimes for spinning. We just got them as a novelty because of their horns. That ewe right there actually has 4 horns. And bred to certain breeds, they'll produce black lambs, which the other Jacob last year, she had twin black lambs. And that was the main reason we got them, just for a novelty. So, and we actually kept her first ewe lamb. She was the one that was scanned for single and had twins, and she's actually a very good mother, produces good lambs. So that was a good, good cross to keep. But those 2 Jacobs standing together, you can see how much smaller that other one is, even compared to the other Jacob. She's just really tiny. And she's had twins every year. So we'll hang on to them. If they, stop producing, then we'll probably sell them at that point. We don't need them as a novelty anymore. But that just shows you the variety and conformation. So you have to decide what you're wanting and what your end product's going to be. This is a mother that Suffolk used. Look how wide she is behind. Nice deep leg there. Just wide all the way up. And that's what you want. Like I say, this ewe's pretty good too. She's just a little narrower behind than what this ewe is. And I think this ewe's a little more rugged than what she is. That's the ewe last year that, if you've been watching us, she had a nice set of twin lambs and laid on them and suffocated them the first night. So we'll have to watch her really close this year. It's very important to pay close attention to your animals and to observe closely. And I noticed this lamb here was moving just a little slowly, and you can see how it's just standing there with its ears down, shivering a little bit. We had a wet snow today, so I'm going to catch it. It's probably gotten chilled and potential for pneumonia. So we'll catch it, take its temperature, and give it an antibiotic. And we're going to add a bunch more straw in here because most of that straw is gone, and put some straw in there to help keep them warm. Because it was a really cold rain, and then we got just a little bit of slushy snow. So it's important to keep them bedded well and keep them warm. Little lamb had a temperature of 103.5, which is significant. I was able to catch it with the shepherd's crook. Chance it could be coming down with some pneumonia. I just gave it that injection under the skin there on the right side, and it kind of stings. That's why it's walking like that. But we'll keep an eye on her. But it was like 55, 56 degrees yesterday, and now it's 32. So that's a significant temperature change. And like I said, a cold rain. So it's just stressful for them. It's perfect pneumonia weather. So really important to keep an eye on everything this time of year, and especially with the season changes. So anyway, thank you for joining us. That's kind of a preliminary on what you look for when you're preparing for a lamb crop. It starts from the very beginning when you're selecting your breeding stock. Know what product you want to have for the end product, and then just go from there. And so we've made some modifications. We thought we wanted the Dorpers, but as it turned out, they weren't the breed for us. They're a good breed, just not for our model. So thanks again for joining us at Norwal Farm, and we'll see you next time.